Hi, Jay. It's Dave from Olympia, Washington. I just finished listening to what to me is the most recent show on taxes, and the conversation, the clip you played from the Jacobin Radio show was super interesting, and it got me thinking. And so I have two things to maybe an extension of one idea and maybe a clarification of another idea that they shared. They talked about the myth of kind of the entrepreneurial, guy has an idea, has an invention, goes out and builds this thing that makes society better and gets rich because of it. And they moved on very quickly. But another point is that's just not historically accurate. That isn't how, things happen. So rarely does the person who has the brilliant idea, the innovative idea, ever manage to profit from it. It's sad and, feeds my cynicism, but more often than not, that brilliant individual is taken advantage of and robbed blind and left, bitter and destitute and, just crippled by the system. More often, and the example, I don't remember where I read this, but the example of, brilliant innovations which make somebody rich are clever ways to screw lots of people out of little amounts of money. And I don't know if it was a made up story or if this was actually going on, but, the idea of, parking meters, everybody pays, a couple bucks for parking. This guy was going around marketing parking meters that would auto detect when a car pulled away. And so that, the next car that pulls into the space wouldn't get that, free 20 minutes left of parking that the previous, individual parking there had left on the meter, that it would, as soon as a car moved off, it would zero out. And so, this inventor's brilliant idea was to, basically take those little bits of, spare change that essentially people were, paying forward. Hey, there's 30 minutes left on my meter. I'm done here. I'm going to, leave and go do whatever my next errand is. And hey, the next person to park here gets free 30 minutes. It basically, ends that practice, and they gather up that whatever spare change the city, your parking department at the city is losing because of that. But it's just nobody is made better by that invention. It's just lots of people are either cheated out of the ability to pay something forward, or nobody gets any free largesse. Everybody's now paying for parking. But it's not like there's more revenue generated or more, more parking spaces created or less congestion. It's just a way to kind of skim a little bit from everybody. The other idea, and I felt like they were dancing around it, but never actually said it. But to crystallize, wealth is created by groups of people. Individuals never create wealth. Right. And I think we can all agree on that, workers working together, management, directing that, the people that own the resources, that led to the, whatever product you're making, they all come together to make wealth, make society, better, a more wealthy place with more, with stuff, either more stuff or stuff of higher value. And conservatives regularly rail against, redistribution and, you shouldn't play a role in distributing that wealth. But that's exactly what happens. Groups of people make wealth. The government redistributes it. The society at large, or whatever you want to call the structure you're living under. Our country's decisions and the choices that we've made around how we decide what inheritance taxes look like, how we, in the law, state profit rights to be, and then either enforce them or don't enforce them for certain groups of individuals. The choices we've made around contract law and around patents those are all decisions about how to distribute the wealth that's created by groups. And by and large, the choices are to distribute that wealth upward. And though, we're a capitalist society, that's kind of by definition what capitalism is all about. But we're not, the distribution is already it's not happening according to the value you added or your hard work. It's happening according to decisions by the government. And, the government can change their decisions about how they choose to distribute the wealth that's created by society. It wasn't said in quite that crystal of a way, but I felt like that they all totally got that distinction. They just never said it that way. Maybe it's, something that's inherent and obvious, and they say that a lot on other sections of the radio. Anyway, I thought I would add that. It popped into my brain at the time. Jay, please, as always, stay awesome.